5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
You're live.
You're live.
Hey, we're live.
Live. Oh.
Evening. Good night
Good
to
night.
some. Here we go.
Hey, oh. I don't know what she.
So the title, does grime lead to crime?
Yes.
And then,
In a short answer.
and then what was the subtitle?
The influence. See, I asked you if you. It's a film.
The influence of music on behaviors and attitudes,
That's it.
which is serious.
Right. The influence of music on behaviors and attitudes. Yeah. I'm a bit of a musician myself. Don't really do much music nowadays.
You all love music.
I do more listening than
Yeah.
than making at the moment. But my main thing is drums of any kind,
Yeah.
whether with sticks or with hands.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to talk a little bit about rhythms and beats and tempo, which is usually kept anyway by the bass,
Yeah.
bass drum and the drums.
Mm-hmm.
Different genres of music don't necessarily mean as much as people think they do.
For real.
And that I think depends on how you understand music,
Yeah.
because people obviously have this notion in their mind, well, I don't like certain types of music because I don't like the sound of it. And that's fine, because that's all about what's, pleasing to the ear,
Yeah.
the natural ear in the natural sense. But then music goes far beyond that. Music does affect your mood, it does affect your attitude, it does affect your behavior.
Yeah.
And that's just on the sense of the musical beat, the
Melodies.
which the tempo,
Yeah. That affects your heart rate.
which affects the heart rate, and in fact affects other organs in the body, because it does, and I'll come to that in a bit more detail. I didn't want to say why.
Yeah.
Gonna have to give a bit more of an explanation.
Yeah, you don't delve into it yet.
But it does. So it affects. It also has a difference on the frequency. The frequency of the music also affects the frequency of your body in terms of vibration. So if you are listening to music which, contrary to people's belief, high pitched music on a higher frequency is more disruptive to the human body system than sub bass, for instance. And I'm not just saying that, because I'm biased about sub bass, but it is. The high pitched frequencies are more disruptive. So,
I
hence,
don't know why I'm excited.
if you listen to some tunes, you'll analyze some high pitched stuff in there randomly,
Yeah.
and you'll be
Always a little
thinking,
flute.
what's that in there for? They know why they put it there,
Yeah. And all them things.
because it's to disrupt the brain at a certain level, certain pace, and a certain tone.
Yeah.
And okay, some people will be like, what's he on about? Well,
You don't get it.
if you don't get it, you don't get it. I'm going to try and give some explanation. Also, probably any musicians who will come on this live either now or later, they know what I'm talking about. To a lesser or greater degree, they understand it.
Yeah.
And spiritually minded people, they
Definitely
understand it,
get it. Yeah.
because music is very much on a spiritual level,
For real.
because it goes beyond the physical, quite obviously, because we're talking about sound waves and vibrations.
Vibrations, yeah.
And there are some vibrations which can be felt but not heard.
Yes.
So that's also music. And usually it's quite often it's the lower end of the scale, but also there are some at the very top, higher end as well. Hence you can have whistles that you can blow and dogs will hear it and nobody else does.
Yes, yeah.
Because
higher frequency.
they hear a higher frequency. So it's that type of thing.
It's like that Laurel and Yanni thing, isn't it?
What's What's that?
Oh, the Laurel and
Laurel
Yanny
and
thing.
Yanny.
Yeah, that it was like a recording, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And the person was saying a name, and
Yeah.
some people were hearing the name Yanny, and some people were hearing the name Laurel.
Mhm.
But it was like a thing where, people were like, no, it's Yanny, no, it's Laurel, but it was clearly to do with,
Do with the frequency.
the frequency which you could hear.
Mhm.
What's he
So
said?
Freddie said.
Like vibrations from Mr. Marley.
Oh yeah.
For real,
Oh yeah.
that's exactly it.
And you know Freddie's
A
Yeah,
serious
yeah,
musician,
yeah.
so
So he knows.
good to have you on, Freddie.
Yeah, but
Good night, Gerald.
oh yes, it's Gerald. Hi, Gerald.
Yes.
I think people don't really think about music in the right way anymore, and obviously, well, we know why that is. That's because they've been made to feel that music isn't as important, or
Program.
yeah, do you know what I mean? It's not as important, and it doesn't affect you as much as it does, but it does, because, like Dad said. Hello, guys. I had a busy couple of weeks. Oh, that's all
yeah,
right.
we missed him a few times.
Yeah,
didn't we?
you weren't on last, but it's all right. Don't worry. What was I saying? Yeah, like what Dad was saying about the different frequencies and the vibrations and stuff. And that's why I don't know about. Maybe it's only for people that are, music people or musicians. But when you listen to a certain type of music, you can feel it inside you. You can feel something, that's there, and obviously that's to do with the vibrations. So, like,
Connects to certain emotions.
yeah, it connects doesn't it? It connects to your emotions. Yeah. So, like, you can listen to one song and you may feel sad because of the melody and the notes and the frequency of the beat. Is it like a low tempo kind of feeling that gives you like a low feeling, or vice versa?
Baseline, I get hyper excited.
But that's what I'm saying. Then you might listen to some bass line or some garage or something, and you're bouncing around the room. You know, it's two different scales, and the music does affect your mood.
Yeah.
Which is why when you go to them, like, let me think, those wild festivals and stuff, they're not playing no, chiller style trap.
I'm glad you didn't mention any names. We're not allowed to be biased in terms of
Genres
what we like and what we don't like. But I mean, of course, those who are listening, they know what we mean.
them festivals where it's all and everyone.
What did Freddie say?
How can one man with an acoustic guitar and killer tunes rule the world? I went to Japan, America, Poland, Slovakia, Tunisia, and in each of these places, the audience would always ask me for a Miley tune, totally dashing any culture and or racial barriers. What's that say? No win.
No win. I don't know if you meant that.
But
yes.
I totally understand what Freddie's saying there, and I know he's travelled a bit with his music.
Yeah.
And I've listened to lots of his music, even recent stuff.
Oh, no woman, no cry.
Okay, yeah, he's a great guitar player anyway.
Yeah, because I've seen his videos on Facebook and stuff. Yeah.
Gerald's Carnival Time is a good example.
Exactly. You know, the thing is that for us who are music lovers, and there's many people who are music lovers to a lesser or greater degree. Even if you're not a Christian, I would personally say you have to give God thanks for music.
Yeah.
Because it really transcends culture, race, class, you name it.
Yeah.
Music speaks its own unique language.
Yes.
That everybody can tune into, literally.
Yeah.
So now when we make statements like we did, does grime leads to crime? I mean, obviously it's a very loaded
we like to get
very loaded statement. And we're going to unpick it a bit. But first, before we kind of answer that, at least our own point of view, let's talk a bit more about music and what music does and can do. Because I think unless you're very much into music, many people don't know what music really does.
Yeah.
So they just listen to it and they're like, oh, I put on music
like
because
that
I like
song.
it. I like
Yeah.
putting on music when I'm driving. You know, I like
Right.
putting on music when I'm cleaning. Some people put on music while they're studying.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm going to talk a bit about why they do that and what that does for them as well. Because there's certain types of music that you will put on when you're driving and they're dangerous.
Yes.
There's certain types
Yeah.
of music that you will put on while you're studying and they are disruptive.
Yeah.
So, you know, these are the things that we have to look at.
Don't laugh, guys. My heavy metal best head banging tune is Led Zeppelin. A whole lot of love.
Oh yeah, I know that
I know
tune.
that tune.
That one is even that is not even that heavy.
No,
Yeah, I
it's
wouldn't
not.
really class
That
it as
one's
a
all-
heavy
I
metal.
mean, you know,
bad. Them
I was just looking yesterday, because I was looking at some music, and I was particularly looking at the beats per minute of certain types of music. And obviously, there's some, you know, there's a big whole connotation behind the beats per minute of what that does to a person. And you know, I looked at one particular tune by Meatloaf, "Bats Out of Hell."
I know it was that one.
100,
How did I know?
172 beats per minute.
Yeah, because that's one of them proper.
Yeah. And then interestingly enough, in contrast to that, you have a tune by Gregory Isaacs, "Cool Down the Pace."
Yeah.
If some people know that tune, 78 beats per minute. So, you know,
Only 78.
yes. And you know, everybody who knows that genre of music, you get it. You know, we called it rubber dub for a reason. You know, and literally it was, you know, cool music. And I'm not really trying to put forward that, you know, that's the greatest music more than any other. No, I'm not. Um, and I don't know how deep we're going to get with this because it depends on what. I mean, I could say a lot, and some of it may go over some people's head. I know 100% it won't go over Freddie's head at
Of
all.
course not. Yeah,
You know,
gonna
but-
get exactly.
But
what
I know
you're
there's
saying.
some people who will be like, what's he even talking about now?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, because I did some research, but it's a little bit.
it is quite
It's a bit
deep,
scientific.
you know, because you can talk about like the things we've mentioned already, the beats per minute, and you will find because I'm gonna go a little deeper on that issue about the beats per minute.
Yeah.
The beats per minute can have an issue on what happens within your physical body. Likewise, the vibration of the music, which you would call hertz.
Yeah.
So depending on and that's where, you know, if you want to break it down, maybe in my kind of brain, you will have sub bass, bass, um, mid. You've got lower mid, upper, and tops or treble.
Yeah.
So you know the gradients like that and the frequencies and how those things affect your behavior, affect your mood, literally affect organs
Everything.
you know, within your body physically. And so when you actually understand that a little better, the argument now that people give about certain types of music may actually make a little bit more sense. The only issue is that, you know, I said, I did some research and read some articles, and they kind of have this label that they label towards certain genres of music. I'm gonna come to that. And the problem is that when you look at it on a deeper level, the genre of the music is not necessarily the issue. It's the frequency
Yeah.
and the beats.
Yeah.
And you'll find that there are some other genres of music that have the same beats per minute.
Yeah.
So then that's where you get to start to understand. Oh, right, okay. It's, you
That's
know,
why people act like this with this and
that's
like
right.
this with that.
Modern so-called sort of pop music is like 119, 120 beats per minute. 120, 125. Within that sort of range, you find a lot of Michael Jackson's music was about 119 beats per minute. Rock music faster.
Yeah.
But those are the beats per minute. But then where you have the difference now is some of this new type of music where it's discordant in terms of the beats and vibrations, and those things together have an effect.
If you're ever around steel band when practicing, they slow it right down and you can move slowly to it and then you can go into the crazy mode.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because remember, we
Exactly.
me and Zaka used to play.
These guys used to do it. They used to play the steel band.
And we used to have to learn the
You
song.
learn it at a slow
really
pace.
slow. And then when you play,
And
you
then
got me there.
You speed up. And the thing is, and Gerald, I know you know because you know, when you learn it and you learn it at the slow pace, it makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, and then as you speed up,
yeah,
you know, and that's
it.
where then people get the move to go with it. And people who are musically minded or people who, you know, are dancers or musicians, they actually they appreciate music in a different way from other people as well. But I mean, we're talking firstly about the beats, you know, and the vibrations. We'll come on to the words later because clearly, you know, one of the issues has been the words.
Oh gosh.
And people say that the words are it's just words, but
I've got a
not
study
really.
to tell you otherwise.
It's not the case. So what I would like to do first is just read something about me personally, something I wrote a while ago, and then well, you can discuss me. So here's what I wrote. Following this, at the end is an excerpt from Wikipedia. I have added it for clarity. So this is me. I am a Jamaican by descent and was brought up in a totally Jamaican culture and was fortunate enough to be blessed with a very knowledgeable mother. That's not to say that my father wasn't knowledgeable. My father loved music. What's he said about the chords?
Two chords keep people jumping.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
No,
For real. Yeah, my father also was knowledgeable, but he didn't. He loved music. He wasn't a musician. My mum, well, in terms of drumming, she could drum, believe it or not.
she was hard on that tambourine.
You know, but she shared a lot of information with me about music, and my own roots. So let me just like read. So she shared some information with me concerning our ancestors, at least from her side, from her father's side. And our grandfather, my mother's father, we are related to Freddie.
Is it?
Oh yeah, Freddie was a Ghanaian.
Oh
So,
yeah.
They're Ghanaian.
Yeah.
At least she knew all of that. Now here's what I put about myself. I was never taught to drum, you know, not officially. Neither drum kits with sticks or hand drums. Yet the kind of drum that my ancestors played, and some still play, I was able to play this drum very well the first time I touched it. My two sons also can drum very well, both with drumsticks and with hands. And you know, when they were growing up, everywhere, dining table, chairs, kitchen, you know, even
any little stick
walking down the stairs, there'd be a beat.
Yeah, some little something.
Just coming down the stairs because there'd be a different beat on you know, box. By the time they get down and into the kitchen, and I was the same.
Wasn't allowed the cutlery until the food was there.
Yeah, because he'd start drumming. I drummed everything, everything, and I still do it now. You'll hear me at the sink washing up, and I'm in the sink.
All the time. And Zaka is still the same.
So, yeah, it's in the blood.
Yeah, definitely.
So I was never taught, but I picked it up. So was that a coincidence? I think not. I know that I've had to give that talent and learn and lean in to Jesus Christ because I'm a Christian and I allow him to use it. And nowadays I don't really play much anyway, but in the past I've drummed for choirs and other things. And I know that I can put my hands on those drums and cause people to move and dance and be affected by what I play. And I can do the same with the tambourine also. I can play things on the tambourine that other people cannot. And they wonder how I did it.
Yeah, I think those things they get passed down.
Yes, they do. So some people will say that this is just mere coincidence or that I'm exaggerating. But the facts remain that music can and will affect people spiritually, and that those who understand the spiritual influence of music and drum beats in particular will use this information for Jesus Christ or Satan.
For real.
So let me give you something from the Bible. Do you want to read this for me, if you can? 1 Samuel chapter 10, verse 5 and 6.
Sarah put something here.
It's
what resonates in your subconscious, driving other people commit suicide.
To kill and commit.
I think she missed out too.
Yeah, too. Of course, certain music does do that. You got it? First
Samuel 10.
1 Samuel 10, verse 5 and 6.
Yeah. What was that? Gibeah.
Gibeah.
Just have to check. Right. So 1 Samuel 10, verse 5 says, when you arrive at Gibeah of God, where the garrison of the Philistines is located, you will meet a band of prophets coming down from the place of worship. They will be playing a harp, a tambourine, a flute, and a lyre. And they will be prophesying. At that time, the Spirit of the Lord will come powerfully upon you, and you will prophesy with them. You will be changed into a different person.
Right, there you go. So that was God speaking to Saul when he was about to become king and told him to join a band of prophets. And they prophesied, the spirit of prophecy was driven by the music. Like I said, we'll see how deep we go with this, depending on the responses of people as well. But yeah, the spirit of prophecy was driven by the music. So that's the spirit of prophecy coming from the presence of God. So that also means that the spirit of prophecy coming from the presence of Satan can also be driven by music.
Yeah.
And that's what people have to understand.
Yeah.
We'll speak a bit more about the guy who we call Satan.
Yeah.
And his influence on music. And Satan is just a label.
Yes.
It's a designation of his behavior. Adversary, that's what Satan means. So we know we're talking about the adversary of the Christians. He's not an adversary of God because God is God. Yeah. He's not an opposition of God because God is God. But he's in opposition to us. Yes. We humans on the earth, Christians and others. Because even if you're not a Christian, Satan is still your adversary. Yeah. He doesn't like you. No. Even if you work for him, he doesn't like you. So, and he has influence over music. And music is a vehicle for spirits.
Yes.
So, this scripture that we read is not just there for Saul, it's for us to tell us about the importance of the real place of music. So then I've mentioned that having worked in the security industry for 20 years, I worked on the doors of every kind of pub and club imaginable. And when I say every, I mean every. I've worked reggae venues. I've worked on what do you call it? What this grunge? Them people. I don't even know what them like metal type of
punk rock.
Yeah, I've done all that. I've done drum and bass line. What they used to call niche.
Yeah.
which is baseline really.
Mm.
Just general clubs where they play sort of poppy type,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, whatever Beyonce and all them people,
Yeah.
you know, and a little bit of plastic
Sean
reggae.
Paul and-
Mm.
Yeah.
You know,
Because you already know a little piece of Sean Paul and that. Just
Yeah.
give me the lights.
and you can see, as I've said here, I have seen the influence
Mm.
that those lyrics and beats have on people, and there is. I've had to eject numerous people from places because of uncontrollable behavior, and in many cases, it was not due to excess alcohol.
Yeah.
It was the music that hyped them.
Yeah.
You know, seen it with my own eyes. The music, when they changed the tone of the music,
Yeah.
there was a different behavior coming from some of those guys, and that was just in a club.
Yeah.
So can you imagine if they were just on the road after they'd been listening to that music all day long and then go on the road? What are you gonna expect from them? You know, because the music hyped them
Yeah.
to a certain level of behavior and mentality. So I clearly see the areas where there can be demonic influence in some cases in music,
Yeah.
and it's definitely a fact that it's there. So now I want to mention a little bit about this drumming business and the negative side of it. So Kumina is an Afro-Jamaican religion influenced mainly by the Bantu peoples from the Congo, Angola area, but others across Africa as well. So, and my mum mentioned that there was a connection with some of our former family people with this Kumina. Refers to both a religion and a dance. Dances include the bailo, mainly used for entertainment purposes, and another one used during the private religious ceremonies. Kumina provides a perfect example of what intra-African syncretism is all about.
Yeah.
The Akan derived traditions of Mayol and Obia, and Akan is Ghanaian, remain opposing entities within the Kumina religion. So, in other words, not to get into too much depth about this, but Kumina comes from one side of the spectrum, while the Obia man and the Mayo come from another side of the spectrum, but it's still not the godly one. So they come at it with an opposing difference, and I suppose then the Kumina would be more like the voodoo dancers in Haiti.
I thought so.
So the Obia man remains a master of science and the spirits, while Mayol is used to refer to the possession of a Kumina dancer at religious ceremonies. So you see, the Mayo side is where the Kumina dancers are possessed. The Obia man, who now if particularly for Jamaicans, they know the Obia man, they call him a science man. And the reason why they call him science is because he's dealing with things of nature on a metaphysical level. So he deals with herbs and potions, but he also deals with spirits.
Yes.
And he's more of a direct contact through the spirits. Sometimes they use the vehicle of music, but certainly on the other side of the spectrum, they always use the vehicle of music.
Every ritual.
Yeah. So the extraordinary insight of the scientist brings revelation of the invisible world. So that's the Obia man. This state of mind allows the dancers to see the invisible workings of Obia, as well as to transmit messages from the other world. This borrowing of different African aspects and deities between enslaved Africans in Jamaica is also characteristic of other African tradition religions, such as Yoruba deity worship, which might be accepted as a deity. There's clear examples of this in Kumina, where they have the deity Shango, and Shango is from the Yoruba religion, and he became an accepted deity within there. Then you've got the connection of the Haiti with Otto King Zombie, a skybound deity who is the supreme being and he's the other skybound deities of Kumina and Obe. What they call it Obe is Obia in Jamaica. Obe. Obei. That's why I said I didn't want to get too much because I know this can mess with people's heads. But I've got to tell you this because we've got to understand. I'm giving it to you from my perspective of people who look like me, you know, and from where my roots come from. But for the white people, it is the same.
Yes.
Music has spiritual roots.
Yes.
And that's what we've got to understand. So it does. Let me put it up front and say it, you know, how much are we 30 minutes in? It does influence people's attitudes and behaviors, positively or negatively.
Yeah.
Right? And we cannot get away from that as a fact. And it's also something that needs to be addressed much more. Much more.
Yeah, I think music is just music.
That's right. I hope I'll get the chance to even speak a bit about gospel reggae as well. But let's see.
The best.
Let's see if we get to it. So, oh gosh, Lord have mercy. I didn't know I'd written it this long. Let me try and cut through some of this. So anyway, I don't want to say too much more about that because I've kind of mentioned where the kumina comes from, that the drums impel someone to dance. And in the kumina, the drums are beaten at a certain pace with a certain beat that brings possession. So they call for a possessing spirit. And the person, there's a lady here who mentioned that she had been possessed by this possessing spirit from the kumina drums. And she stayed for 4 days and 4 nights, neither eating, drinking, nor able to get up. When she came back to herself, she saw many different things. The old arrivants taught her the African language and a lot of spiritual wisdom. And basically, this is also reminiscent of, you know, the South Africans when they have the so-called calling, when they can be knocked out for 4 days, even for a week. Some of them even have to end up in mental institutions until they agree to accept the calling. And when they accept the calling, and again, for the South Africans, it's music that fuels it.
Yes.
Right? It's music that fuels it. The drumming. You know, remember I sent some things to you of some young people who had become call it what it is.
They had the
call witch doctors.
Yeah,
basically.
they become witch doctors, and the ladies, because she was like a little bit older than me, wasn't she? The younger.
Yeah.
Only a few years older than me. I think about 24, 25. And she said how she was, you know, becoming sick. She couldn't get out of bed and all of this, and her mum didn't know what was going on with her. And then the spirit told her to go see this lady who was a witch doctor. And the witch doctor lady told her that she has to accept the calling or she will die.
She will die.
Yeah.
Or at the least become very sick.
Yeah, or be like paralyzed or something.
And from she accepted it, now she's a healer.
Yeah. And then what did we see? What did you see? First they were sacrificing a chicken. And then the next part of the ritual, what was it? Music and
dancing.
Yeah.
And the dancing is an absolutely integral part of the whole process.
Yeah.
It's the music and the dancing that drives the vehicle to bring those spirits. And I could read what Gerald said there. When I am driving, it affects my yes. You must be joking.
Don't you remember that time Mum had that?
There's some awful music that if you're driving to it, you'll sleep.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so I never, you know, I put on music to drive often, especially on the long distance, but it can't be that, you know.
That dreary stuff.
It's got to be something with a bit of thing, but I know if you put something on too fast, then you're on the other end of the spectrum. You know, before you look at it, you're
Well, that time Mum was doing what? Like 100, and you know she don't drive fast, and she was there doing like 100 on the motorway, right? And then it was this Indian music, this really fast, like the Bollywood style music, and it was there. And he was there,
Yeah,
Speed.
exactly, because before you know it, you're just driving at the pace of the music. Because there's an effect within your physical body.
Yes.
You know, so yeah. So yeah, I said about the possession, didn't I? Like I said, there's a lot here. I don't want to read too much more, but drumming then is not simply a musical skill, but it's a way of communication. And as you know, they've talked about, you know, talking drums and all of this. Well, here we are. I've got another thing to read, and if we get that far, we'll see. About a particular musician who's a record-breaking Grammy Award winner, and he has clearly said how he gets his music. So if we get the chance, we'll read that. You know, because it's very important, and he won't be the only one. He's one of the only ones who said it. But
because there's not many.
The fact that he's a record-breaking Grammy Award winner, it tells you everything. Because he said it, which means that the others who won a record number of Grammys, they're the same.
They're the same. They're just keeping it hidden.
Yeah. Michael Jackson, we know. Taboo. Michael Jackson clearly said he used to turn into a different person. Beyonce has said it. When she's on stage, she becomes Sasha Fierce. Sasha Fierce is a demonic entity.
And it's the same because there's loads of them that have these, because that's what we touched on this a little bit before, didn't we, about the alter ego. And that's what you find in the music, like, you know, the music industry, a lot of possessed musicians who have specifically sold their soul or made some sort of contract or you know, covenant with Satan. They allow these spirits to channel to then do the performances. This is how they're able to do, you know, 5-hour show, they ain't even had a drink, and all these kind of things.
And they'll just turn around and tell you that it's just entertainment, and it's just, you know, this is because they just get on the stage and get gas. It's not anything spiritual. It's just like they basically tell you, like, you know, say if you were going to perform, if you were, as you already know, as a musician or a dancer, you get into a place in your mind where you're becoming ready to perform, but that's not you letting in any entity or spirit. It's not the same thing. Yes, you put on a persona almost to perform, because of course maybe if it's dance, you know that you need to you know, get your body ready, and you need to, you know, have your mind clear so that you can get in tune with the music and those kind of things. But there ain't no entity coming in me when I was doing my dance or any kind of, you know, musical performance. I didn't have no, no, I'm a next person now. Do you know what? No. All of that is demonic. So what's the thing that you wanted to?
Let me find it.
Does it fit now? I think it does.
Yeah.
Well, it does,
I've
because
got two things.
Gerald is saying, the boys and I in the 70s, we travelled the whole of the UK to see different groups, from soul to reggae and soca. We'll be rocking all the way home afterwards.
Exactly. That's right, because it stays with you. It stays with you. Yeah, for real, Gerald. And at least, I mean, okay, I'm still trying not to be like disrespectful of other genres of music, but at least that was kind of, how would we say, positive type of music.
Yeah.
That is good to stay in your spirit. But there's some music out there now.
You can't. Anyway, because literally when me and Zakai were watching this film, right, it was one of them little spy films or something, and then what happened is they went into this club, right, but it was like one of them punk rocky style, grunge style clubs, and it wasn't fast-paced music, but they were playing this music, and it was like, and then I was like,
hypnotic more.
So I was like, and then Zakai was there on his phone for a second, and then was like, nah, what the heck is this? With this music making me feel all strange. And I said, yes, that's exactly what was happening to me, making me feel strange and
Mm.
and funny. And anytime any music, like that's why I don't like what you call it? What's that music? Drill.
Yeah,
That's why I don't like
I
drill,
don't
because
like
it gives me that feeling inside where it's like a
something ain't right.
yeah, something is not normal
Well,
here.
we're going to come on to
Yeah.
that in a bit of detail.
So
Yeah.
what I
yeah.
read on this it's a little article here, and it says, and it's called "Can listening to aggressive music make you an aggressive person?"
Yes,
it can. So it
I
says,
think yes.
yeah, of course. So the first thing they said here is men who listen to misogynist lyrics respond by being aggressive towards women.
Mhm.
And they did a study with I don't know if you know that, well, they're quite popular, so you probably do know who they are. Red Hot Chili Peppers
Yeah.
band, yeah. And they have a very misogynist song called Sir Psycho Sexy. Even the name of it is already like, well, yeah. So the study suggested that people who are not particularly hateful or violent became more aggressive towards women shortly after listening to the misogynist music. Right. So it says that the male participants were exposed to misogynist song lyrics administered. The male participants who were exposed to misogynist song lyrics administered more hot chili sauce to a female than a male confederate, because it was like they did it in, you had to listen to the song and then you had to make a sandwich for someone and you had to put hot sauce in it. And what they deduced was that every single male who listened to the misogynistic lyrics, they were putting more hot sauce in the woman's sandwich than they were the men that they were making it for. Right? So they said that male and female participants were exposed to either misogynist or neutral song lyrics, and afterwards when they were asked, to add the hot chili sauce, it says, it says once again, men who listen to it put more chili sauce on the sandwiches intended for women than their misogynist listening male peers. So what does that? That's only a small, little, feeble experiment. That's not even with anything, serious. That's just put some chili sauce on the sandwich. And because they've listened to a song that's talking badly about women or saying women are this and that, it's inside their brain when they're making the sandwich. So then it's like the words are resonating, and then they're I need to put more hot chili on this woman's sandwich because women are this and women are that. And that's exactly what's happening with all this music that's out there now. So you're listening to this music, this bitch, this hoe, this that and that, she's a this, she's a that. And then they wonder why all these young men no longer know how to treat any woman. Yeah.
Because they've got the idea. I mean, of course, we're talking about words now, rather than just beats. But the beats, obviously, I think we've kind of. There is more that can be said, but I don't think we should, because, like I said, it depends on people's conceptualization about music. I don't know if Freddie's still on or not because he's gone silent. But unless people are kind of musically minded, I don't want to say too much. My Gerald is musically minded as well. But now, if we turn to the whole thing about lyrics, well, we're in a whole different ballgame again. And the whole thing about the influence of music in general, we know about the beats and the vibrations and so on. And like I said, maybe if we have time, we'll touch on that a bit more. But now, in terms of what's being said, first, I mean, the thing is that when you look at a piece of music, you've got several things going on. You've got the beat, obviously. You've got, aside from the beats, good night, Nesfield. Apart from the beat, you've got the vibration, which, remember, we said already, you've got sub bass, you've got bass, you've got lower mid, upper mid, treble, tops.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a sound system
That's the
set up,
scale,
but
isn't it?
that's basically how the vibration of the music is going.
Yeah.
Because, you know, even in sub bass, which isn't just in reggae, sub bass is used in rock music,
It's used hard now. Hip
in
hop.
hip hop.
Yeah.
It's used in
Soul.
drill.
Yes.
You know,
it's
because
used in all of them
many
now.
tracks, and you know the simple way how you can pick up on the sub bass. If you play a track, you know, like play it on your well nowadays we don't really have radio. Play it on your phone.
Yeah.
When you play it on the phone and you listen to it, there's some parts that seem like they're missing.
Yes.
You know, because
Just put it in
you
the
need a
speaker.
subwoofer.
Yep.
Play that same tune with a subwoofer, and you start to hear some things that sounded like they weren't there
Yeah.
before.
Yeah. Suddenly you're gonna hear
Right.
extra bass.
And this is what I'm saying. You're going to hear extra bass. Those bass vibrations have an effect on your physical body, and that's why they're there. And there's some, and you people don't know because obviously, unless you're that much into music, that's just a piece of music. Isn't
Yeah.
it?
People don't
The
get it.
producer, in some cases, when they produce that piece of music, they drop in some sub bass that you can't hear. You can only feel it.
Yeah.
Now, my children, they know because they know I'm a music maniac. So they know I've got speakers everywhere and I always have subwoofers.
Yeah.
I've got subwoofers in the house. I've got subwoofers in the shed. I've
In
got
the car.
I've got subwoofer in the car. You know, and even some music that I've played, the subwoofer can't manage it because my one is big, but it's not big enough.
Yeah.
Because there's some lower vibration notes that are not picked up well, but it's deliberate.
Yeah. Yeah.
The producer has made the music that way deliberately. That's what we've got to understand. That first, it's because there's certain vibrations of the music.
Yeah.
Like I said, the beats per minute, the pace, the tempo of the music
Tempo.
is one. Then, of course, aside from that, is the actual vibration, and those things have an effect on a person, on their attitude, etc. That's why the type of music that is labeled as violent music, if you like, the genres, and let's start to talk about that now.
The genres.
We're talking about music nowadays, which hip hop to a certain extent
Is one.
some of it. Then it was gangster rap.
Yeah.
Because now let's first look at the genres in terms of the beats, and then we'll talk about the lyrics that they add on top of it.
True, I am listening to you on my headphones, which have a better reproduction.
There you go.
Exactly. You can even hear somebody's
because of the voice.
Yeah.
You'll hear it better now
vibration
with the headphones. It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. They know what they're doing. And I mean, it's not. But like the thing is with the music now, you'll get these tones that come through the music. So whether it be that you call it gangster rap, drill, grime, you'll find that the beats are similar.
Yeah, they carry us.
Then now we then had dance hall.
Oh yeah.
To me, and anybody can argue with me if you want. Dance hall is not reggae.
Of course it's not. Don't even get me started on that.
Dance hall is not reggae. Dance hall is dance hall. It's a different music. Because then people say, "Oh, yeah, I'm playing." Because okay, I like when somebody says that they're playing gospel reggae. Cool.
Yeah.
Gospel dancehall.
Nah.
I know that people do take some of the beats. There are Christians who take the beats
a little, like,
out of other tunes and they make their own tunes. I'm going to come to that in a minute about what I think about that. Well, it might be more than a minute, but that's okay. We'll talk about that too. But here's the thing: dancehall is not reggae, right? So now, then people who know, they'll tell you it is a genre of reggae. That I can accept, but it's not reggae. Dancehall,
it's his own thing.
It's his own thing, and this is what I'm saying, because the similarities between dancehall, gangster rap, drill, and grime are very close.
Yes.
If you listen to the beats, they're all up there. The beats are similar. Not beats per minute, because you'll have some of those tunes where the beats per minute are quite slow,
Yeah.
and you'll have some of them where the beats per minute are quite fast. But the issue, and this is 100% true, is that with those tunes, with all of them, the beats are disruptive. And that's and check it out. Almost all of gangster rap, grime, drill, dancehall, the beats are disruptive beats. What do I mean by disruptive beats? They're not steady. You know, if you said, right, I'm gonna count this tune is at 120, and you just count it and it's all at 120 all the way through. No. With all those music, it's not. It'd be 120, then it's 78.
Yeah.
Then it's 120, 78.
Yeah. Because that's why I don't like it. Because that's because it's like that's what for
because that's like that on purpose.
Yeah.
Because
See? It doesn't
it's
flow.
like it goes
Yeah,
you know,
deliberately.
like
Deliberately. It's discordant and disruptive music.
Yeah.
And it's made that way on purpose.
Yeah.
Because if you see guys when they're putting together the music, if it doesn't sound like that, they're going like, no, that's not it yet. They want it to sound disruptive.
Yeah.
And when you hear the most disruptive beats, they're like, yeah, man, that's sick.
Mm-hmm.
That's sick. That beat is sick because it's very disruptive. So you've got to understand that there's a spirit behind that. And that's just the music, content of the music, and the vibrations are, they'll lower, they like sub bass.
Yeah, bass
in there
become very
because sub bass speaks to your heart directly. You see, so they want the sub bass to be there because it's those, that's where you get the warm tones from. It speaks straight to your heart. But then now take all that and then now add these maniac lyrics to it. And here's now where we start to have our problem.
Yeah.
Because you've got these guys who are already hyped up. So there's certain beats which are, beyond they're double the heart rate.
Yeah.
Average heart rate being anywhere between 60 to maybe 90 beats per minute. This music double the heart rate. And then on top of it, so and then on top of that comes the lyrics. And the lyrics are hardcore.
Yes.
I'm gonna knife a man.
Yeah.
Drink his blood.
Yeah, these kind of nasty stuff. Yeah.
All these type of things.
Disgusting.
I tell you, and don't fool yourself, as people do, that this is a black man thing, because I've read some. There's some research where they said, this is more of it's African Americans in the black music, and no, it isn't. It isn't. Because there's music from rock music and all sorts, and there's plenty of people who follow all of the music.
Yes,
altogether a recipe for disaster and destruction.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Because the music, and that's why I said when my friends are there trying to put out, get this drill off now, and they think I'm joking. I said, get it off now. I don't want to listen to no drill. I don't listen to that music and I don't like it and I never will. And that was because even at first, some of the tunes, though, that are drill or should I say genre drill, drill style, they're not bad, but they have a different feeling to them than them little demonic.
And they're the ones that are not as popular with everybody.
Exactly. And it's so true because even one time my friend played this song. And I said, oh, that was not bad, what's that? And he said, oh, it's just this guy. He's not really known like that. And I thought, of course. But the one where they're chatting about, he's going to do this and that to his ops and, put him in a spliff and all these kind of, because, and if you don't get what that means, it means he's going to kill him off because you'll be smoked. Yeah, and if you don't know what smoked means, well, I don't know for you, but that's what they're saying. That, I'm gonna put them in a spliff and all this, and everyone's all, oh yeah, this is so popping, and I'm thinking, are you people? Is there something? They're not think. Do you know what it is? They've been desensitized over the years by stupid music that's on the radio. You know, songs that are singing like, oh, watermelon sugar high. What even is that? What does that even mean? Yeah, stuff like that. Oh, you know, whatever. I can't even think of some of these foolish songs now because there's so many. You can't even think. Even that one with Cardi B and Nicki, not even Nicki Minaj, Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion. Yeah, even that one, that WAP, that is disgusting. It is nasty, disgusting tune. I don't care what anyone says. And once again, I don't like that track either. And I don't want to listen to that tune either. Nastiness. And people are being influenced by this very easily because all they're doing is listening to the song and then they're, oh yeah, this is a tune, because they're thinking. I think people nowadays are more getting hypnotized by the beats.
That's right.
That's what, of the music.
That's what they think.
Yeah.
People nowadays are given the assumption that they didn't listen to the lyrics. Oh, it's just words anyway. Words, I'm not taking any notice of those words.
It's not though, because how do you sing along today?
You know, but they do because subliminally the lyrics go in.
Yeah, of course. Because that's why even
because that's the reason basically why when we who are of a different spirit will listen to that music, as soon as we hear those lyrics that start talking rubbish, nonsense things, it has to go off. Yeah. Because it agitates your spirit. Yes. Now the difference is that somebody who receives that agitation, and when I say receive, I mean receive. They literally receive it. Yeah. So then it agitates their spirit, but they receive it. Yeah. So then they become complicit to that agitation. Yeah. And this is the difference. What's my mind?
Nasty for real, them dirty people. People are following this foolishness, Cardi and that Megan girl.
Don't even get me started, because this is why they specifically, and once again, I'm coming back to the music industry now. This is why they
know what they're doing.
Specifically choose these type of females, to you know, for promote everybody to idolize, because they're nasty and they're disgusting and they have no class or
they're sluts,
they're hoes, and that's why they put them
and
there.
They're trying to glorify this home style.
Exactly, and that's the thing. That's why they speak of it so much in the music.
Exactly.
So we were talking about beats.
Yeah.
So let me. You know, I came prepared. So let me read some more. I did have to cut out some of the last one because it was knocking people's heads off. But I have to read this. This is a different one I wrote. So rhythm is also an important aspect of music to study when looking at responses to music. There are two responses to rhythm. These responses are hard to separate because they are related, and one of them cannot exist without the other. So here are the two responses. Number one is the actual hearing of the rhythm, and number two is the physical response to the rhythm. So what do I mean by that? You hear a beat, you hear music, and you may tap your feet, nodding your head, rocking,
or your finger might,
something like that. Like I used to watch my dad, and a lot of people thought my dad was square, but I knew he loved music like madness. And I was just like, all right, you'll see. So you put on a tune. My dad at first would be sitting, square, and nothing would be moving. Then you see his head just. Yeah. And you just laugh because he's listening. But you see, there's always the hearing part, and there's a response.
Yeah.
And this is what we've got to understand, that there is always a physical response to what you hear. So music will always do that.
Yes.
Always. It's not possible for it not to do that unless you are deaf.
Yes. Yeah. And even
if you are deaf, you can Did I say death or deaf? even,
Yeah.
even if you are deaf,
Yeah, that's it.
vibrations can be felt,
Yeah.
It's a known thing.
Right,
They just put
and-
their hand to the speaker.
Yeah, they
and
do.
that's
They
music.
can feel the music.
So, and there will be a response.
Mhm.
Let me just highlight some things.
Mhm.
The way in which a person will express that response physically with body movements, we generally call it dancing. So, you
Yeah.
know, the
Yeah,
music,
dancing.
and they're
Mhm.
doing a thing, you
Mhm.
know, because they're dancing to the music. Yeah. The human body is made up of rhythmic movements. So, for example, the body contains rhythms in the heartbeat.
Mhm. That's your first music,
Mhm.
actually.
Yeah,
as,
you
as
have.
a baby. in
But
the
your
womb.
mum's heartbeat.
Yeah,
Right.
your mother's heartbeat is your first music.
So you hear this and you can feel it.
Mhm.
People who have got good timing, they can keep the beat of their heart. Some people who have bad timing, they can't do it.
And that's why the baby will always go to sleep on the mum like that. And
Yeah.
it's a little bit harder
that-
with the dad.
Yeah, because they
Yeah.
know the heartbeat.
Yeah.
They already know it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So the way you express yourself, that's dancing. So we've got the heartbeat and we've got other rhythms. We've got walking.
Mhm.
Everybody walks with a rhythm.
Yes.
You don't know
Even
everybody.
people with even
Everybody.
style.
And here's the funny thing. You know, I don't want to be rude anyway, but let me just put it because I just say this. And those who know me and understand me, you understand me. And if you don't, well, you know, you can always ask me later what I mean. I tell people all the time, and I don't say it out of anything other than reality. Not every Caribbean came out of Africa.
Yeah.
How many times?
I know
have
for
you
sure
said?
not every Jamaican came out of Africa.
For real.
100%. Many there are that did, but there's many who did not.
Oh.
And the original ones who were on the island of Jamaica did not come from Africa.
No, they came
Right.
from there.
And so, what am I trying to say by all of that? If you look at two men who society has called black, and I don't anyway, but when you look at them, you see one, he walks with rhythm. Caribbean man, they walk with some style and some rhythm. They walk like they're walking to
You're
music.
listening to music.
Mhm.
And an African man, generally, they just walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not being rude, but it's just the way it is. You see Nesfield, tell me if I'm lying. You see a Jamaican man and you see him
Yeah.
walking, he's got music in his ears somewhere
Yeah.
because he's walking with music. The way how he's walking, it's like there's music. But then you might see a next man who looks the same as him, but he's just
walking like a
he's just
robot.
walking.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
that's rhythm. That rhythm is already in you.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, it's already in you. Like I said, some will get what I mean, others might be lost in it, but
Facts, big man taught the truth.
it's a reality.
Yeah.
So our walking, our breathing, those are all part of the rhythm of the person.
Mhm.
So now, when early missionaries went to Africa, and they listened to drumming,
They said chipping down the road.
exactly, that's it, chipping. They heard them drumming, so they heard beats which they thought were complex polyrhythmic beats, and they were like, they said they were 2 against 3, 3 against. So they're talking.
Mhm.
And I try to show those beats. I don't know if people can hear this on the Facebook. I hope so. I try to teach those beats to some people, and they cannot.
Yeah,
They
they can
cannot.
never
They
get
cannot.
it.
They cannot. They cannot.
There's nothing they
They
can
can't
do to
get
get
it.
it.
Yeah. But that's
And
the
they
thing,
do all
but
sorts of. And it's
you
2
either have
against
rhythm
3.
or you don't. You can't teach it. You can't teach rhythm.
No,
And they
you
can't
either
get
have
it.
or
You
don't.
can't teach
And it was
rhythm.
these type of things that they were hearing and saying, "Oh, these are polyrhythmic beats." talking drums, you know,
Yeah, that's what they call them, polyrhythmic beats.
talking drums, because they're speaking through their music. Responses to music are
He said they
easy.
can, yeah.
Oh yeah, they can. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Responses to music are easy to be detected in the human body. And trust me, I try to teach that. Well, I have to say it, I'm sorry, but I try to teach that to some people who don't look like me, and they couldn't do it.
That's not surprising.
They couldn't do it.
Look at Zaka.
You know, and there's some more complex beats, but
You only have to show
those
you.
are the basis there. They couldn't do it. Even and then also even some Africans, I tried to show them some beats, they were miles out.
Yeah.
They're on a different rhythm
A
Yeah.
different
than
rhythm,
me.
yeah.
You know, so you got to understand. So what else did I put? Got a lot of things in, but anyway. So music is related to how we relax and how we are alert. So the mind is able to concentrate more easily with certain types of music.
Yes.
Certain music decreases blood pressure and enhances the ability to learn. Music affects the amplitude and frequency of brain waves, which can be measured by an electroencephalogram. Music also affects breathing rate and the electrical resistance of the skin. It has been observed to cause the pupils to dilate, increase blood pressure, and increase the heart rate. Music played at 60 beats per minute can activate the left and right brain. This simultaneous activity maximizes both learning and retention of information. The information activates the left brain whilst the music activates the right brain. Simply using music while learning does not absolutely guarantee recall, but can possibly improve it. Background music in itself is not part of the learning process, but it does enter into memory along with the information learned. Recall is better when the same music used for learning is used during recall.
Yes.
Also, tempo appears to be a key of music's effect on the memory. Hence why I said that, you know, there's a reason why popular music is around 120 beats per minute, because they know that and the beats are repetitive,
I was just gonna say that.
so that it will stick in your head.
Even the words.
Right,
Yeah.
the words are repetitive,
Yeah.
and the beats are repetitive, so that it will
Radio
stick
tunes.
Yeah.
in your head.
Oh
And
my
it's
gosh.
around 120. Michael Jackson's actually a lot of his music was 119 beats per minute, and it was, you know, but I'm not even going to get into why that was. I don't even want to go down that road.
It's like they're just on repeat
But that's
in
what
a
I'm
loop
saying, because at work,
every day.
the same
It's the
thing.
same order.
So listen to this. It is not just mere coincidence that many many preachers, and we're talking black ones in particular, some white ones do it too, but especially Pentecostal preachers. So many Pentecostal preachers. You're used to your dad by now. Many Pentecostal preachers enjoy a period in the sermon when music is used to enhance the delivery of the word and repetition is used. So, however, scientists tell us that the human mind shuts down after 3 or 4 repetitions of a rhythm or a melody or a harmonic progression. But that's the whole point. They want you to shut down. What it means when it shuts down doesn't mean that you switch off.
No.
It means that you're now, you know, you shut down in terms of reasoning and so forth. So
You're on autopilot.
you're on autopilot. So it's just going. It's like a hypnotic process now.
Yeah,
So
it's literally
as much as you know, we do kind of like, and you know, I've listened to many preachers who preach that way, and I preach that way myself from time to time. Well, and the Bible says, and I want you to know. It's cool. I'm not knocking it, but all I'm saying is that, irrespective of what they think, you're not getting as much out of it as what they think you are, because your brain is now on autopilot, and it's just now a repetitive music. You see, it's hype. Basically, is hypnotic hype.
Yes, it is.
That's what it is. Right? So excessive repetition causes people, listen to this, to release control of their thoughts. So that's why you'll find, and I've analysed this, you get some drill music, for instance, and there's hardly any content to it. And I'm not talking, I'm talking both in terms of the beat and the lyrics. There's hardly anything.
That's what I say.
And why is that? Because they want people to release their thoughts, so that they can infiltrate their thoughts with that rubbish in the music. And yes, I've called it rubbish.
Yes, it is
because some of it is absolutely rubbish.
That's why I would say they sound the same. Because it's carrying the same little spirit of food. Yeah, exactly.
So, listen, rhythmic repetition is used by people who are trying to push certain ethics in their music. So it's not by chance.
No, it's not.
Right? So let me just go a little deeper for you. An Australian physician and psychiatrist, Dr. John Diamond, so you can look this up if you think I'm lying, found a direct link between muscle strength or weakness and music. He discovered that all of the muscles in the entire body go weak when subjected to the stopped anapestic beat of music, and that's the beat of rock music. You know, Alice Cooper, Queen, The Doors, Janis Joplin, Led Zeppelin, and so forth. He found another effect of this stopped anapestic beat. So you can look that up if you want to see the beat of it, what it is, you know, anapestic beat. He called it a switching of the brain. He said that this switching occurs when the actual symmetry between both of the cerebral hemispheres is destroyed, causing alarm in the body along with lessened work performance, lessened behavior, lessened learning, and behavioral problems in children, and a general malaise in adults. In addition to harmful irregular beats in rock music, shrill frequencies prove to be also harmful to the body. Remember what I said about the tops? Those high frequencies, which is the reason why you find a lot of them screaming in the music. Which is just like, oh, they're just being extra. No, they're not. They know what they're doing. Bob Larson, who is now a Christian minister and a former rock musician, remembers that in the 70s,
he's hearing the dog barking in the background.
Yeah, he's going crazy out there, that dog. Giving us his version of music. A former musician said that they would bring raw eggs to a rock concert and put them on the front of the stage, and the eggs would be hard boiled by the music before the end of the concert and could be eaten.
Look at that.
Because of the rhythm that's pumping through the egg at a certain pace, you know. Remember I told you, Bat Out of Hell was at what? 178 beats per minute. So you know.
But then even that song, that's how.
And I'm not going to play it. So anybody who doesn't know it, well, sorry, but
get on YouTube.
I'm not playing it for you.
That's right.
So you know, the human body vibrates at a rate of 7.8 to 8 cycles per second when it is most natural and relaxed. So that's alpha brain waves. So they're in that 8 cycles per second range. The Earth also vibrates at 8 cycles per second. The stopped anapestic beat is based on a short, long pause pattern, which is different, and it throws everything out of sync. And it's the same as this drill. Whatever, you know.
Has, isn't it?
This is some different level of news about the eggs.
Yeah, I'm telling you. It's like I'm saying.
It's shocking, isn't it?
So, you know, this rhythm, which is the basis of most rock, pop, and dance songs of today, this beat is the opposite of the body's natural rhythm and throws everything out of sync. So, you know, and it's true because it's that beat that's at a different pace.
Yeah.
Because if you even go and feel your own heartbeat, and again, like I said, I'm not trying to advocate for reggae. per se,
Well,
but there's a lot of reggae that is 100% in tune with your heart.
Yes.
Right, especially what I call rubber dub, right? Which, you know, to younger people they'll say that's what they want to call big man music, old man music or whatever. When rubber
Yeah,
dub was
old school
rubber dub was
reggae.
real reggae. You
That's
know,
what they
some
call
of the other stuff is not reggae. Some of these dancehall things that they're playing, it's not reggae.
I
It
don't know why they
it
try
sounds
to
just
do
like the
reggae.
hip hop guys and all them anyway.
Someone said
Because
to me,
and it
"Oh,
has
it's
to,
reggaeton."
because it has to have a certain taste to it.
Yeah.
Reggaeton,
They were playing dance and they said, "Oh, this is reggae." I said, "This is not reggae." "Oh, it's reggaeton." Then I said, "It ain't that."
that is
either."
not, and reggaeton is the Latin
Yeah.
version
I don't
of
mind
reggae.
reggaeton. I quite like
Reggaeton came from was produced from one tune by Shabba Ranks.
Yeah.
That's
And then
where
after that,
and Shabba Ranks
Ranks
tune was Shabba Ranks tune, but reggaeton came out of it, and then they called it reggaeton.
Yeah.
And reggaeton is very limited
Yeah.
because all their beats are from that one tune.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know,
That's why a lot of them music
their
sounds the same.
drumming is from that one tune.
Yeah.
It would sound the same.
Yeah.
Don't make me laugh.
All of their beats is from that one beat. You know,
Them foreign people having a little street party outside the shop listening to reggaeton. They're like, hey,
Yeah,
yeah.
you notice them, you know, them people there.
Yeah.
They like that reggaeton
Yeah, they do.
music
They do.
a lot.
so lately they have been using sound to tune into the frequencies of internal organs in the body to diagnose sickness such as cancer before physical symptoms appear, or to be used in the healing process.
Interesting.
You know, so I've just read that bit, and we'll go back to some of the other. Because there, like I said, there's some stuff to say about Carlos Santana. We'll talk about him in a bit. Yeah.
I don't even know who's but getting wild.
I know, I can't hear
I
now.
don't know what's wrong with him today. So yeah, go on, Tamer.
Oh, with what I was saying.
Yeah. Sorry, but,
I had something else here if I can find it.
inside, go on. Go inside. Go inside.
Get in your bedroom, mate. And apparently, right, this is on another article now which I found. But this one is one of them that you have to take with a pinch of salt because you know they're trying a thing, you know, with what they're saying. But it says anyway, once again, the title is Does Music Affect Your Mood? And yes,
And
we
we
know
say
it
yes,
does.
it does.
Yeah. And then it says here, new research shows that even sad music can lift your mood.
Oh, shut up.
Can it really?
No, it cannot.
What kind of sad
but you
music?
know what they classified as sad music?
Slow tempo.
Slow tempo.
Yeah.
And here's where we have our problem. Because like I said, I can
the
I can
definition
I
is
can I
subjective.
can give you a piece of music, Gregory Isaacs, Cool Down the Pace, and I think it's 78 beats per minute, which is classified as slow tempo.
Yeah.
That's not sad music.
No, it's not.
It's not.
Right?
That's what I'm saying.
It's not sad music.
Yeah, because
So
even
what are
now,
they saying?
because obviously recently a lot of soul music has come back in, hasn't it? Where they're doing a lot more the genre soul music, and that's a lot of the time slow tempo. Yeah, and that's not always sad music either. So I don't know what exactly they meant because they didn't actually define what they meant by sad music. They haven't actually defined it. All they've said is researchers have pondered the possible therapeutic and mood boosting benefits of music for what says here centuries. So what does that mean to tell you? They're keeping this information from us. They already know what's going on about centuries. But how come we're not getting taught this in school about music? We get taught music, but the lowest level of information possible.
Oh, yeah, you're
to music.
That's right, the lowest level. See, 75, 76 beats per minute.
Yeah, you see.
Cool down the pace. Oh, just
very low.
Just in case anybody didn't know, I'll help you.
Oh, it's playing out the laptop.
Mm-mm.
It connected you.
Mm-mm.
That's rude.
Yeah, look. See there?
I wonder if they can hear it there though.
I don't
I'm
know.
not sure.
They might have to put it up.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
you
Yeah.
have to turn it up.
Yeah.
See, that's what I don't like.
I don't know if anybody heard it.
I'm not sure if they
I
haven't
don't know,
said,
nobody
if they said a
said.
comment.
Mm-mm.
Oh, we'll have to see. But
Yeah, Gerald said
Gerald
he
said
can
he
hear
can
it.
hear it.
oh,
Yeah,
Oh, you
that's
can hear it.
that's 76 beats per minute.
yeah,
That didn't sound very sad to me.
No.
That didn't sound sad.
it's not sad, is it?
I mean,
It's
okay,
a lower
You
tempo.
can say I'm biased if you like, but you know.
That's not sad music. So it says here, conversely, the study found that for some people, sad music can cause negative feelings of profound grief. So what happened to the
It can lift your mood.
For real.
This is why I don't take no notice of certain
So
things.
it says the research involved 3 surveys of more than 2,400 people in the United Kingdom and Finland, which I find kind of interesting why they chose to use the United Kingdom and Finland. Maybe the pop music culture is very high in Finland, like it is here in the UK. Maybe that's what the connection is. I'm not,
maybe.
you know, I mean, I'm not quite sure. So the majority of experiences reported by participants were positive, which makes me wonder, like what we were saying just then about the slower tempo, is it really sad music or is it a lower tempo of music, more in tune with your actual heartbeat and your heart rate, and that's why you're feeling positive and not disorientated or you're not feeling out of what's the word? Yeah, you're not feeling like out of sync with this music. So it said the results helped us to pinpoint the ways people regulate their mood with the help of music, as well as how music rehabilitation and music therapy might tap into these processes of comfort, relief, and enjoyment. And he said an earlier study before this one, which is published in the Journal of Consumer Research, so you can find it if you want to have a look, found that people tend to prefer sad music when they are experiencing deep interpersonal loss, like the end of a relationship or maybe a death or something like that. Yeah, and the authors of that study suggested that sad music provides a substitute for the lost relationship, and they compared it to the preference most people have for an empathic friend, someone who truly understands what you're going through.
But how would they have that information if there's no connection?
Exactly. And so what you can deduce from this, quite obviously, is that what we are saying is correct about the beats per minute and the vibrations of the
it's
music.
all of it together.
All of it together affects how you feel, your mood, the feeling in your body.
Not just the beat on its own, but here we go. Here's another one for you.
Oh, I know this track by ASAP Rocky.
What's that do? Here we go. Switch up, put up the volume a bit.
God, how do you do it?
It's on the
Top,
side.
towards the left. Top. No, it's the button.
It's
top.
on the button,
Left hand side. One of those buttons on the top too.
Is that the same tempo, that one?
It's a little
This
bit
is
faster.
80, a little bit faster. But this is what I'm saying. This is 80 beats per minute. And this is the kind of stuff that guys are listening to. And this is light, actually, by the way.
You know what? Not even that many people like this track. And I think it's because it's a bit light.
Yeah, it will be.
I heard this song enough times. And this is what people, listen to. But even the lyrics, once again,
Repetition.
what are they saying?
Some BS.
About I praise the Lord. Which Lord?
Which Lord?
The devil.
Lucifer.
Yeah.
I praise the Lord, then break the law. So you are not
Yeah.
praising Jehovah because you won't be breaking no law. Yeah, and then about I take what's mine and
I
yours.
praise the Lord, then
Yeah.
take what's mine.
And yours.
Mm-hmm.
See? This is the foolishness. I don't like these type of songs. Even the flow is irritating. Oh.
You got right.
I don't know why you have to stop it.
Oh, it's not
It didn't
stopping
stop
on your
this
end
time.
now.
No.
Oh God, what did I press?
There. There we go.
Yeah, I don't know why it didn't stop that time.
No, thinks it's fun. That's why.
So yeah, guys, that's
That's only 80.
that's 80 beats per
Why you
minute.
left it so long?
So when there's like, oh yeah, it's because of blah blah blah. No, it's to do with a lot of things.
More
It's
than
to do
just
with
the
a combination of,
Yes,
of
the
what the music
combination.
what the music is saying
Mhm.
and how it sounds.
Yeah, because even I was having a conversation with Mark the other day. We were listening to some music, and I was playing some reggae. I can't remember what song it was. It was a proper like an old one. Yeah, and then Mark said, "Oh, no, I haven't heard this song in a long time. I love this tune." He said, "Yeah, I always like listening to the reggae because it gives you that feeling." That's what he said. It gives you that feeling, and then he did this like that. And I said, "Yeah, I know exactly what you mean."
mean.
And he said, "And when the words are also speaking,
Something
truth
a bit more positive.
or something more deep and not foolishness."
Yeah.
Once again, he said the tune then goes to another level. Yeah, and that's the truth.
Here we go. Here's the next one. ASAP Rocky.
I know this track. Once again. But what's this? 120? Really?
This is 120, yeah.
You wouldn't think it.
No, because it starts off slow.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
I mean, look at the title of the song though.
But that's,
No.
let me run it forward. See all these horrible tunes. And this is what they're listening to.
Look at that album cover.
Oh, yeah.
Because these are the things I would never look at that album cover and think,
And buy that.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't believe,
That's what I'm saying.
that this is
I know
120
this
beats
is
per minute. And you know why? Because you miss how to work out what's going on.
Yeah.
You can hear it because
If you listen, it's got that pop beat in the back.
yeah.
Can you hear that pop beat in the background? That's the standard pop beat.
That's what
And that's deliberately in
That's
there.
what people are listening to, whereas we're hearing all the other things and thinking, what is this?
Yeah, he's put that pop beat in there deliberately. And that's 120 beats per minute.
But this whole album actually was like that. So because that other song was that other song from the same album? I can't remember. I think it was a different
because
song.
I do remember.
But because I've heard his thing, and they're all kind of like this.
Yeah, there's another.
And you see, listen to even that beginning bit about. Because I never used to hear this track. I weren't listening to this track.
Aren't you glad?
And just to prove the point, because obviously we're playing some tracks and we're saying who they are because we don't have the rights to their music, and we're just playing it to prove a point. But this, can you not hear the rock beat?
Yeah, because that's what
And
I
in
was saying.
many so-called hip hop tunes,
Yeah,
this,
they're from rock.
this rock beat is behind it because there's a reason. Because it's that disruptive beat to the heart.
Yeah.
You hear it?
It's true. But even like I was saying,
There's
They're in the background.
It's two songs that.
Yeah, that's what he has done
Yeah.
because even there's another track on there. I can't even remember what the name is now, but there's another one on there that's got the say it's come from like a rock sample that he's used to make his hip hop track, but he's known as that type of
Yeah.
artist anyway.
Yeah, and he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Of course. Well, he doesn't do music now, innit? He's sold out the music, and now he's into fashion and them things there. So you already know what
Well, kind of
he's done his rituals.
He's
Because he doesn't want to be on the music anymore.
He's done as much with the music as what he thought.
Was enough,
worth
yeah,
doing.
was worth doing, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you know, I'm not sure of the timing now because we've got the thing up there.
Oh.
Click it off.
Is it this?
Move it down. You should be able to move it down.
Can't drag it.
No.
No, is it not
Why are they
moving?
trying the thing?
No, it's
You
not
got-
moving.
Right.
That's the volume, that bit.
Symbol down there. Spotify symbol. Click on it. And
Lock
again.
it off.
There you
Yeah, that's it.
go. Right, so we're on 1:30,
Oh,
yeah?
yeah, so we'll get to the comment here,
Yes.
Gerald.
This is why I enjoy steel band and watching the players enjoying. Watching people who don't know much about pan moving. Trinidad All Stars playing full extreme is one example.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah. I know Gerald knows about it. Steve's fine.
Yeah.
It's melodic music,
Yeah.
you know? It plays with a nice melody.
And it's
And there's
about
not-
the feeling.
There's no gun lyrics in
Yeah.
I mean, Calypso has one or two little rude lyrics.
Yeah,
you know,
sometimes.
but there's no.
Even then, it's still like jest.
Mm.
It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, the thing is that
More
when
than
it
just being
is 100% fact that you know, there's a spiritual aspect behind the music. I'm going to read what this guy said about his journey in a minute, and I'm saying this before I read that because basically, you know, some people will watch this or they might read the title and oh, for God's sake, what are they on about?
Yeah.
Well, what we're on about, basically, what we're saying is exactly the reality.
Yeah.
Grime. I mean, we've used the term grime. I put the grime there just to wind people up,
Of
so I know
course.
they'll look at it
Yeah.
like, what do you mean?
What
But whether it's grime, gangster rap, drill,
Drill.
Yeah.
It
doesn't
doesn't
have to
know,
specifically
whichever one.
be grime. The
those
answer to the
all
question
those
is yes.
type, even dance hall,
Yes.
right? Because when you're
What's
talking, you're
going on in
talking
Jamaica?
talking people like Vibes Cartel, Mavado, what the one, the ugly one, Ninja Man, and all of them. Well, there's a reason why those guys end up shooting people, stabbing people,
Yes.
and all this because they sing about it in their songs.
Yeah.
If you're singing non-stop those lyrics, gunman lyrics, non-stop in your song, you're singing non-stop in your song how you're going to murder people. Well, eventually you're going to end up doing it. And that's why Ninja Man has become a murderer.
Yeah.
Vibes
And that's
Cartel
why
has become
Vibes
a
is where he
murderer.
is.
And there's a few others who have become murderers.
People have got confessions in their tunes.
Yeah. But even the drill people, it's the
Yeah,
same
confessions
Yeah,
are in their
they're
tunes.
singing in their song
Yeah.
what they've done
Yeah.
or what they're about to do.
Yeah. And if I ever see it, this and that, I'm gonna do this and that.
Yeah.
And that's what all those tunes are about.
Yeah.
And I'm not even going to start playing those ones now.
No,
to
no.
prove
Them
the
ones
point.
are too heavy to even
Because the
small
reality
ears
the reality is in the music. And people sit down and they'll sit in a room. You got to remember, first of all, that a lot of these guys will be sat in a room somewhere at somebody's yard. They're listening to that tune,
Yeah.
right? When that tune was first written, because let's go and take it right back. And I'm going to prove my point when I read about this 8 times Grammy Award winner and what he said. When that tune was written, there was a spirit behind that tune.
Yeah.
So somebody might have wrote that tune and said, I'm writing this because I'm angry. I've got beef with next man on the road and I'm going to write this
I
tune.
want to get my feelings.
You know, and that's the simplest type of music. But a lot of that is what people hear first.
Yeah.
So he's got beef with next man on the road. So he writes that tune and he writes in there about what he's going to do and what he would do if he could. So they talk about all the things that you think you're a bad man and you haven't got this and I've got this and I'm going to do this, blah, blah, blah. He writes that tune and he has about 10 men around him when he spits the tracks and everybody's hyping him. They're all hyping. Yeah, that was wicked, man. Yeah, he's talking about, he's saying, it's on point.
You already
Right?
know.
Yeah, we have to produce that.
Yeah.
So then they produce that and everybody's jumping up and down to it. Everybody's listening to it. They hype themselves up all day long, and they're probably taking hallucinogenic drugs at the same time,
Yeah.
right? So they're opening themselves up spiritually
Yeah.
and metaphysically. And there's no argument about whether that's a fact or not. It is a fact.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing. And then so now they've filled themselves with that music full of hatred, violence, venom, and then they go out, they've got a point to prove I'm a bad man, I'm a road man, and I've got the tune in my head.
For real.
Even when they're driving up and down the road, they're still
They're
listening to that same tune.
Yeah.
They're listening to the same tune and they're driving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're listening to that same tune when they're driving. I'm driving in my car, listen to the tune, I'm driving. Driving in the car, listen to the tune, I'm driving. Driving in the car, listen to the tune, I'm driving.
Yeah, but that's
Right?
what
And
they
that's
like.
how
They
it's
don't
just, you know.
care. They're just interested in, oh yeah, the tune is a bad man tune.
Bad man tune.
And that's what they say, but they really mean it when they say
But they
that.
mean bad man
It's
tune,
a
that
bad
tune
man
is
tune.
only for bad man.
Yeah.
Same with dancehall, that there's some of those tunes that they're listening to, they know,
Yeah.
right? That when they're there talking about murdering people in the tune, they mean it. And they'll go out and prove the point.
Yeah.
They have to go and murder somebody because they're calling on the spirit of murder,
Yeah.
telling it to come.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like the martial artists. They tell you that there's certain weapons that they use that once they draw it, it must taste blood.
Yeah. It can't.
Right?
It can't go
Because
away.
it was made in blood. And now, okay, I don't want to really give too much away because
That one is a
if
whole-
you don't know about that stuff, you don't know, and I don't need to educate you
No.
because you know it is what it is. But they make some things and they're baptized literally in blood.
Yeah.
The way that the weapon was made.
Yeah.
So when that weapon has been made, you know, I saw a thing where, and okay, some will say that's fiction, but it's not. They made this particular weapon, and what they did when they were making it, when it was in the forging process and it was in the forge, they were making this sword. All the guys in that group cut themselves and drained their blood onto the blade of that sword as they were making it. So you make of that what you will, but I know what it means. So every time that sword was drawn, it had to draw blood. And these are the things that you've got to understand, that's now knitted into the music. And they're listening to that music all day long. And then they go out and they knife people because it's part of what's in that music is telling them, I need blood.
Yeah.
You see? The music talks about murder, they go and murder.
Because everyone wants to talk about, oh, what's going on with all these young men and why are they all knifing each other and killing each other?
Because in the
Well,
damn
what's the
music.
majority of what they listen to? Drill.
It's
And
in
that's
the
a
damn
fact.
music. They need
Go and listen to them roadman and see what they're listening
yeah,
to.
they
Drill.
or dancehall.
Or dancehall, for real.
You know, gunman this, gunman
Yes.
that. They need to really, really seriously come down on the lyrics and the beats. The beats not so much alone because, like I said, if the beats came across with different what's the word with different lyrics and the same beat, it will come across slightly different. But what you've got to understand is that okay, the beat was made, but when that beat was made, there's a spirit that was called. So even on a level as for Christians or godly people, they're calling a different spirit.
Yeah.
You see, that's why then even when people say, well, Rastaman, they're not necessarily Christians, and then they're calling on Rastafari and okay, yes, we know that there's some who believe that Haile Selassie was the Almighty God, and they're wrong. There's some who understand the Almighty God is the Almighty God, and Haile Selassie was a man.
Yeah.
He's Rasta. So there's a difference in that as well. But also the deeper understanding with the Rasta man music per se is that generally, yes, it is a spiritual music, but it's a music of basically love and peace.
Yeah.
You know, you're not really going to hear.
There's
Okay,
okay,
it's
it and then punching each other up.
that's right. It's a revolutionary music as well because you might hear them sing about Bondong Babylon.
Yeah,
and then Babylon need for Bondong.
For real.
So you know, some of that is
Speaking
not
facts
really.
and lyrics, and the,
You know,
and the music is
There's a reality to some of
has
that,
a vibe to it.
so it's not the same.
But that's why look look at Carnival, right? And you see how slowly over the years the sub dub tent was just getting smaller and smaller as the years are going on till they just plonked it in that tennis court. Yeah. Yeah. And why is that? Oh, because no one's interested. I'm not interested in that crusty music. I'm gonna go to the carnival bit. I want to do carnival. You know, that's what they want.
They want to be in the jump up music, or they want to be up where the youth man.
Where you got to be running every 5 minutes.
Drill and whatever.
Where you've got to hide behind the tree in case you get shot.
Crews are coming together with beef against each other,
and then
gunshots are going off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what does that say? What's
just last week on Beyond the Tape, a police program here in Trinidad, the inspector was saying the same thing about the music that some of these artists are putting out. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's really affecting them.
We have got to take responsibility.
Yeah.
And okay, we just have our forum here. You know, we get a few hundred people a week watching whatever we're saying, and praise God. And if they even take that then as a speaking point to go somewhere else with it, we've done it. We've done what we need to, because we've highlighted it to people and said, listen, don't take music lightly.
No.
You know, it has a very serious power.
Yes,
especially over young people, because some young people, all they do is listen to music.
Yeah.
They don't watch TV. They don't watch movies. They are always listening to music.
Some people, they wake up, music goes on their stereo.
Yeah.
They get in the shower,
music.
They get in the car,
music.
You know, even sometimes they might be at work, earphones.
I'm one of them. Anyway.
And I'm one of them people as well.
And they get it from me
all the time.
And, you know, they
every
know.
day without fail. I listen to
Angelica knows when she was born, I had speakers in every room in the house. I wired them through the wall. I had them everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, and I think when you're a very musical person, you understand music to a deeper level anyway. Definitely, because it resonates different, doesn't it?
Exactly.
And it does. You tend to see that people that really, really enjoy music, they don't just have one genre anyway. They like different styles, different tempo. You know,
listen to no music for 3 days. I was getting depressed.
But this is what I'm saying, because that's what I know. That's why it's funny when I read that thing saying about, oh, if you listen to sad music, it makes you happy, because that's rubbish. Yeah, and I know that for a fact. Yeah, slow tempo music maybe. Yeah, because when there's been times where I've been feeling maybe sad or, you know, a bit down, I'll think, oh, do you know what? Let me just listen to some music. And I always say this: music always heals my mood. That's something that I've always said.
Oh yes,
the music is healing me. Yeah.
So let me read, because we're going to be done anyway, aren't we? So
nearly done.
Carlos Santana. Many people will have heard of him. Musicians especially will know him. Carlos Santana is a dangerous guitar
player. Listen to the name though. Santana,
Satan. He's a dangerous guitar player.
Yes,
serious guitar player.
Yeah, he was killing it.
So he's a winner of 8 Grammys in one night. The only other person that's done that so far, unless, well, I could be wrong, but I think I'm not. Michael Jackson.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think anybody else has done it yet.
In one
night.
No, I don't think so.
So here's what he says. He has a little house above his house. He calls it the church. Here is where I hang. Listen to this. He hangs out, he said, with Jimmy, as in dead Jimi Hendrix.
Oh my God.
Dead Miles Davis. And he plays and meditates. So he goes into that little house and he calls up the spirit of Jimi Hendrix. He calls up the spirit of Miles Davis. And again, you're talking unbelievable musicians in their genre. Jimi Hendrix will play some things on the guitar you can't find.
Yeah.
Miles Davis will blow some notes that you want to know where they came from. Did they come from the moon?
You know, you're on the guitar. People are trying to get. They can't even get the note.
Can't get it, and we know why. Santana says he is a night person.
Oh, really?
So he'll go up there at 2 or 3 in the morning.
Of course, the witching hour.
Yeah, innit?
And he will call on Metatron. Metatron.
Metatron.
Metatron.
Sounds like some Transformer name.
Yes, Gerald, he's a brilliant musician, but there's an inspiration behind his music. And even he is the one who says that this inspiration is there. Metatron is an angel. Carlos Santana has been in regular contact with Metatron since 1994. He will sit facing the wall with candles lit. He has a yellow pad on the floor next to him, which he says that he gets communication from Metatron and he writes his music.
Start scribing down.
And he'll write the
He'll
music.
be there.
Yeah.
He says he's been increasingly engaged by angels since 1988 when he picked up a book on the subject. He says, I feel lit up.
Oh, really?
I'm not Carlos anymore.
Hey!
I'm not bound to DNA anymore.
Oh!
It's beyond sex. It's beyond anything that this world could give you. Buzz, it feels like Jesus embraced me and I'm bathed in light.
Which Jesus?
The other
The
Jesus.
false Jesus.
So now he says his attitude is now in the wake of his success, 7 million selling album Supernatural, which Metatron gave him all of the music for it. The world is interested in hearing what he has to say. He says, I don't care about what anybody thinks about my reality. My reality is that God speaks to me every day. There's an inner voice, but this God he means is Metatron. And he hears him every day through his medulla oblongata at the back of his neck. So he'll go and he'll burn his incense and candles and be chanting, and all of a sudden he will be told what to write. He credits Metatron with alerting him to the recent changes in his life. In the mid-90s, he met some people and they invited him to their afternoon meditations, and Metatron delivered messages to him. Metatron told him, for the purpose of connecting the molecules with the light, Carlos Santana understood. He would make a new album and be on the radio again, and he would connect the molecules with the light and connect an audience with some of the spiritual information we now have. Metatron offered a further instruction: be patient, gracious, and grateful. Santana was told, and he resolved to do just that. So let me tell you who is Metatron. Metatron is from the Greek meta and tron, meaning beyond the matrix. Metatron is an angel in Judaism and some branches of Christianity and Islamic tradition and witchcraft. However, there are no references to him in the Jewish Tanakh, the Old Testament, the Christian scriptures, or any Islamic source. There is no consensus as to his genesis or the role that he plays in the hierarchy of heaven. A mysterious figure, Metatron is identified with the term Lesser Yahweh, which is the Lesser Tetragrammaton in a Talmudic version read by a scholar. Let me just put it that way. I can't go into the name.
It's long.
Yeah. So the word Metatron is numerically equivalent to Shaddai, according to the Hebrew gematria. Therefore, he is said to have a name like his master. So this would appear that either his master, according to him, is either supposed to be the Almighty God or Lucifer. Lucifer, Metatron, already had an exalted throne above the stars of heaven, but wanted more. It is said that there may be 2 Metatrons, one spelled with 6 letters and one with 7. We already know that Lucifer, who in the Bible is called Hellel, was the chief musician of heaven. So this is not just mere coincidence.
Nope.
Every known culture on the earth has music. Music seems to be one of the basic actions of humans. However, early music was not handed down from generation to generation or recorded. Um, Early music was known through the findings of flutes carved from bones and so on. The influence of music on society can be clearly seen from modern history. Thomas Jefferson, when he wrote the Declaration of Independence, said when he could not figure out the right wording for a certain part, he would play his violin to help him. The music helped him get the words from his brain onto the paper. Albert Einstein, who is recognized as one of the smartest men who has ever lived, said that music was the key that helped him to become one of the smartest men.
Mm.
He played the violin. He loved the music of Mozart and Bach. A friend of Einstein said that the way Einstein figured out his problems and equations was by improvising on the violin. In general, responses to music can be observed in the following ways: that it has the ability to link all of the emotional, spiritual, and physical elements of the universe. Music can also be used to change a person's mood and has been found to cause similar physical responses in many people simultaneously. So a piece of music can cause a whole room of people to cry. Music also has the ability to strengthen or weaken emotions from a particular event, such as a funeral.
Yeah.
We have seen this in gospel music with positive and negative results. So the effects of music are definitely not neutral.
No, they're not.
Okay?
Jehovah says, isn't that the music taking them to another dimension?
Yeah, it is. But then that's the point. Going to another dimension, what does that even mean? And Carlos Santana said
Yeah.
he's gone and he's discussing with angelic entities, and they are giving him they're giving him the music. So which angelic entities
The
are
fallen
there?
ones, mate. That's
You know?
who he's talking to.
And so there are other people out there who just have not been as plain as Carlos Santana,
Yeah.
and they're not telling you that. Beyonce came close
Yeah, she did.
because she told us about Sasha Fierce, and there are many musicians out there.
They give you a little inkling.
If you take dancehall, for instance, Vibes Cartel, he may not readily admit it to people, but he has gone through that transformational process, which is why he bleached out himself the way he did, because that's when he turned into a different person.
Yes.
You see, when he became fully demonized,
Yeah.
that's when and he started with some
Adding bear tattoos.
putting
hundreds of
some
tattoos.
very wicked music.
Yeah.
And there's a few others out there that I don't really follow that genre as such, but I know some of the names, and then I look into them and see who they are and what they are. And many of them, they've become very demonized.
Yeah.
You can see they've spoiled themselves.
Oh.
Yeah. Again, another one.
Alkaline.
When
is
that
so
transformation
demonized,
came,
it's so
they
sad.
become a different person.
Because even his music changed.
And the music changes because it has to line up with that spirit that's now, ruling and in control of them.
Yeah.
So, in conclusion, what we're saying is that the music does matter.
Yeah.
I wish that parents who have young or young enough children and young people within their house will stand up and start to say, get that rubbish off. Don't have that on in my house.
Yeah.
You can't control them when they're an adult, obviously, but whilst they're in your home, control that music.
Yeah.
Control it, because it does influence. It is evil.
Yeah.
It has an evil spirit behind it. A lot of that type of music. Not every music does have, but the devil is using that, causing them to murder each other on the back of this music.
Yeah. That's what's driving all that behavior.
What's
Jimi Hendrix apparently played different when high.
Absolutely, that's right.
And it's a known thing that he was even saying, before he died or whatever. He was saying about how he's being tormented and all these things. all about these spirits and all those things. So you
They
already
keep
know
saying
what
them
he was
things.
on.
Whitney said it, and so did Michael Jackson.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, that they're being tormented by these spirits.
Well, it's not just coincidence.
No.
Satan, Lucifer, Hell, whichever names you want to give him, he knows that he rules the airwaves.
Yeah.
He knows that he rules in the world of music
Yes.
out there.
Yeah.
And he will manipulate people's minds and lives through the music.
Yeah. And all other kind of waves
Yeah.
as well. Not
That's
even just music waves.
So
radio
those of us
waves.
who can, for our young people, children, cousins, brothers, whatever they are, especially the males,
cut that off.
we've got to cut that music down. Because until they can get music coming in their ears that's got positive lyrics and leaves them with a positive atmosphere, it's just gonna continue.
Yeah.
This knife and gun business, they're not gonna change it.
No.
You know, until they can actually start to change the whole mindset
Yeah.
of those people, they're not going to change this.
Mhm.
That's a whole nother topic in itself,
Yeah.
which, you know, I'm not saying we're coming with that next week, but
Because you know things are quick on it. They even come with a can't wait for that. Listen, mate.
so, you know, we don't know if we're coming with such a topic by next week.
I mean, the last
certainly
topics
the-
have joined into this topic.
Mm.
Like I said, anyway, our topics naturally
just
link
flow
up.
on.
They flow on. You know,
Mm.
you come with one thing and then boom, 1, 2, 3. The next 3 are joined. They're linking. They have a similar vibe to them. So we'll see in it what we're coming with next.
Yeah.
God will reveal during the week.
That's it.
It'll probably be the same subject that I'll be teaching next Sunday.
Ah.
Demons and demonology.
Actually, that's
you know,
well, I told you that was juicy.
I know that, you know, for a lot of people,
That's gonna be heavy.
they'll probably say, oh, that's a church thing, but it isn't.
It's not.
No, it's really not.
It isn't.
No, it's
I'll
not.
just say, in fact, that, you know, probably, you know, we should talk about it anyway. Because I've got stories I can tell people of people who are not Christians,
Yeah.
who have spoken to me about what they've seen and what they've heard and what they've experienced, and it's not a Christian experience.
Yeah.
And they've had real spiritual experiences. And there are people who have opened themselves up to spiritual experiences which they can't then handle. You know, and some of them end up in mental hospital. And I used to work in mental hospital, so I know. You know, I've seen it firsthand.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's something that does need to be talked about.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of it out there, and especially with the drug abuse,
Yeah.
you know, there's a lot of it that's going unspoken about, and people are struggling through it.
Well, you know, there's a reason why they've used the term, especially in the UK, which I find funny. Oh, you know, she had to take some time off work. She was battling her demons. What do you mean when you're saying that?
Yeah, exactly.
They mean exactly what they're saying, but they don't understand what they're saying.
So we're going to define it.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, yeah, let's do
I think
it.
that's the one, isn't it?
Next time, let's define it. What it means when you say you're battling your demons.
Yeah.
What does it mean?
What does it truly
So,
mean?
once again, thanks very much. Those who stayed with us to the end.
Yes.
God bless and take care. See you next time.
Good evening. I always try to